Welcome to another new episode. Like always, today we are here with an exciting topic that will boost your knowledge. So, without further ado, let's jump straight into the main discussion.
Right now, the United States is staring down the barrel of something we really don't see very often. We're looking at one giant, deeply interconnected atmospheric machine. Listen, this isn't just some localized weather event. It's a massive, multi-hazard pattern that's about to shock the entire country, bringing extreme, completely different hazards to completely different regions, all driven by the exact same underlying system. Think about that for a second, because the stakes right now are incredibly high. We're talking about blazing, absolutely record-shattering heat on one side of the country and violent, destructive thunderstorms on the other. But what's truly fascinating, and honestly a little terrifying, is that none of this is a coincidence. The extreme heat is literally feeding the storms, and those storms are creating hidden dangers that most folks won't even see coming until it's too late.
To see how this all connects, we're going to break this explainer down into 5 quick parts: the invisible heat trap, the Midwest storm factory, Sunday's overnight danger, the silent Atlantic threat, and finally, the big picture.
Kicking things off with part 1, the invisible heat trap. So right now there is this massive blob of hot air sitting right over the middle of the US. Picture a heavy, invisible lid just slammed down over a boiling pot on a stove. The wind can't push it out, the clouds can't break through it, and it is firmly stuck in place. And just look at that number. Across parts of southern Kansas and northern Oklahoma, actual air temperatures are pushing toward 115 degrees. And to be totally clear here, that is not the feels-like number with humidity added in. That is the actual physical air temperature. We're talking about dangerous, potentially fatal heat where asphalt can literally buckle and power grids are pushed to the absolute breaking point.
But here's the real kicker: the daytime highs are only half the story. When it hits 112 degrees during the day, you usually expect some relief at night, right? Well, under a heat dome like this, it acts as a nighttime trap. The temperatures stay dangerously warm. Your body never actually gets a chance to recover. You go to bed sweating, you wake up sweating. And statistically speaking, this kind of relentless, inescapable heat takes more lives in the US every single year than tornadoes, hurricanes, and floods put together.
Which brings us to part 2, the Midwest storm factory.
This dome isn't just sitting there being hot. It is acting as a massive engine, essentially building a factory for severe storms right along its northern edge. You see, the atmosphere absolutely hates an imbalance. So you have this immovable dome of heat over the Central Plains, and right along the top of it, the cooler, much faster-moving winds of the jet stream are riding by. The hot air pumps massive amounts of moisture and energy upward, colliding with that cooler jet stream air. It's literally like vigorously shaking up a bottle of soda and then just boop, ripping the cap off. The energy has to go somewhere, so it explodes straight up into violent thunderstorms. Because of this massive atmospheric collision, we are looking at a multi-day timeline of total chaos. Today, the upper Midwest is getting absolutely hammered by severe storms, with a massive threat of straight-line winds. Saturday actually offers a brief, quiet breather, mostly shifting to just some scattered storms in the interior northeast. But then we hit Sunday. That is the supercell main event. And ultimately, this whole shebang ends on Monday, when a cold front finally shatters the dome, causing this dramatic temperature crash that will basically feel like changing seasons overnight. Now let's zero in on part 3, Sunday's overnight danger.
Out of every day in this forecast, Sunday is definitely our greatest immediate concern. The ingredients coming together here are just enormous, and they are pointing towards something incredibly significant: supercells. By Sunday afternoon, the winds high up in the atmosphere are going to shift to come from the west, while the winds closer to the ground will be rushing up from the south. When you cross those two wind directions at different heights, the air just starts twisting. It gives these thunderstorms their own internal, rotating engine. And that twist, that is the exact fuel these storms need to start dropping golf ball-sized hail and spinning up strong, highly destructive tornadoes.
But here is the absolute most terrifying part of Sunday's forecast. As these supercells merge into a long, nasty line, they are expected to march across heavily populated regions like Milwaukee, Grand Rapids, and potentially even Detroit overnight. During the day, you can see a storm coming. You can see the sky turn that bruised greenish color. But at night, all those visual warnings just vanish in the dark. People are asleep. Tornado sirens go totally unheard. The only warning you might actually get is the sound of howling wind or your house physically shaking. Okay, shifting gears to part 4, the silent Atlantic threat. While the mainland U.S. is battling this extreme heat and overnight storms, the absolute strangest piece of this weather puzzle is actually sitting out over the ocean. Right now, there's a strong El Niño pattern in place, and it's heavily impacting the Atlantic by creating immense wind shear. Now remember how wind shear in the Midwest is helping those thunderstorms organize and rotate. Well, over the ocean, it does the exact opposite. It's like trying to stack up a really tall tower of wooden blocks while someone is just continuously swatting them down. Every time a tropical disturbance tries to get its act together, the wind shear at the upper levels just tears it completely apart. On the surface, having 0 hurricanes sounds fantastic, right? But as this quote nails perfectly, a quiet Atlantic is not necessarily a safe one. The ocean water has just been absorbing massive amounts of heat all summer long. Without any storms to turn up the water and release that heat, the energy is just stockpiling. If that wind shear suddenly relaxes later in September or October, any storm that manages to form is going to have access to this massive, untouched reservoir of fuel. That leads to rapid intensification. We're talking about a system rocketing from a tiny cluster of clouds to a major monster in practically no time at all.
Let's pull all of this together in Part 5, the big picture.
So how do we actually navigate all this? We've covered a blistering heat trap, those Midwest supercells, and a totally loaded ocean. It all boils down to knowing your specific regional action plan. If you are in the central or southern plains, you absolutely must respect the heat. Hydrate, check on your elderly neighbors, and please never leave a child or pet in a parked car. When it's 115 degrees outside, a car's interior reaches a deadly 150 degrees in under 15 minutes. If you're up in the Midwest or Great Lakes, your priority is Sunday night. Stop what you're doing and turn your phone emergency alerts on right now. Put some fresh batteries in a weather radio and make sure your family knows the path to the basement. And if you're chilling on the Atlantic coast, do not let this unusually quiet period lull you into a false sense of security.
This entire weather pattern is a wild, stark reminder of just how extreme and deeply connected our atmosphere really is. So I want to leave you with this question to chew on. Looking at this giant, multi-hazard machine we just decoded, which threat actually concerns you the most? Is it the invisible, silent danger of that heat dome, the explosive overnight tornadoes, or that massive amount of energy just patiently waiting out in the quiet Atlantic? Because understanding the whole board, that is the very first step to staying safe.
How did you like today's discussion? If you have any questions about this topic, don't forget to let me know in the comment. Stay well, stay healthy.